Hello, Donkey Kook here, aka the Lonely Achievement God, and I have to apologize. Part 6 of my Expert Mode playthrough. As you can see, I have finished my Expert Mode, but I don't have a Part 6. The video file corrupted, I lost all of it. So what I'm going to do is, firstly, apologize for that. Secondly, nothing would have changed from the method we were covering as far as anything you would have done differently for the last year. That's why we were going to use part 6 to display the other method. So what I'm going to do is start a new game and with the expert mode, and I'm going to display and show off for you how you should use the expert mode to try to get one item. So let's say we're going to cover it to try to get one item, and I will show you how to re-roll deliveries as well in this little part here, because unfortunately while I did that in part 6 does not exist anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and delete this file. We never need it for anything ever again anyways. So, and we will start a new game. Single player, expert mode, 25% less time, as we discovered. Normal. So we're going to start off this playthrough exactly the same way we started off the first one. Hit run down, press start to get the delivery set, so you don't have to wait for the truck and the animation. Bring the items up here. As I mentioned, we're not going to be focusing on groupings in this one like we did in the first playthrough. We are going to be... Sorry, 1 second. Have to switch inputs over here. Okay. We are not going to be focusing on groupings. We are pretending that, let's say we have 31 out of 32 groupings, or achievements, and we just need the Finches. And I'm going to be showing you the best way to use the expert mode to do that. So at this point, I'm going to assume you know everything about the ins and outs of the game. I'm just going to be showing off how to use this mode to get the last grouping achievement you may need. So we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to hit A on the time clock to skip the delivery phase. And now we are going to grab all of the blocks in front of the customer service area. Using the right stick or A, whatever method you want. Okay, so he wants one item from down here, so we come grab it and bring it up. That is the end of the first phase, and that is all we are going to be doing for as far as delivering items, just as we did in the other expert mode method. So we'll get our items. Just real quick here, let me take a look before we add any more. We only have one item related to, 2 items related to groupings anyway, so we didn't get a good start. So what we're going to do, skip the delivery again, grab groups of 6 of the items up top. Don't worry about the deliveries down below yet. And I actually go ahead and skip the delivery phase and go to the service phase, because we're not going to be doing anything in it. Again, grab groups of 6, just bring them over this direction. In this playthrough, you will not be sorting things near as often as you did in the other expert method if you watched that. So I will say the one problem with this method as opposed to the other one is There is no getting around the waiting for these service phases to end. You have no choice. You have to sit and wait for the minute and 7 seconds. Because of that, I am not going to be showing you an entire playthrough doing this particular method, because it would be at least an hour and a half of me just sitting here doing nothing. That doesn't prove anything or show anything to you guys. So I'm just going to show off this. I did the full playthrough using the other expert mode method, and I'm just going to show you how to do this method as well, because there's not a lot to it. The idea of this is that you're using this method if you need just 1 or 2 groups of items. So CJ is disappointed. Get your 4 items. Ignore the delivery pause so that the delivery is finished. And then head to the time clock to open the hatch and start the service phase. Once again, we will be doing nothing. We're going to get this first quarter out of the way, because we're actually just building this delivery pile all the way up until it reaches the customer service window. A little backstory on this: if you are still needing the bananas and Finches, then you have to kind of do this anyways. If that's what you're trying to get, they don't show up in the first year. You can't get them until I believe the 48th item, the 45th through 48th items are the ones that get delivered in February, I think. I know for sure the Finches are coded to not show up until the 2nd year. I do not know if the bananas are as well, but I've almost never seen them before that. So you have to do this regardless. That's why I highly recommend, if you run into them in another playthrough, that you drop everything and get them, so that you don't have to start the game and do this. Just waste your time going through the first year, just so you get to the point where you can potentially get a banana or a Finch. So I highly recommend, obviously, doing this whenever these blocks show up in your other playthroughs. But, of course, I will create this guide so that you know what to do if you have to use this method in order to get your final groupings. I will point out that if the pause glitch is around, and you have no problems with using that pause glitch, you should use that. It is significantly faster. It's basically this, except you get to skip the service phase, so you don't have to sit and wait for a minute and 7 seconds. But again, I am here to give you this option in the off chance you don't want to use the pause glitch, or it has been removed from the game. I will get into re-rolling deliveries once the items back up, so I can show you what we need to do. But that will not be for a while yet. So we're going to buy the rotate, although it doesn't really mean a whole lot to us here. And then we skip on ahead. And we have a minute and 7 seconds to not do anything. So you get 6 rows every delivery, so yeah, we're not going to be backed up till the end of the 3rd quarter. So actually, just for so we don't have to wait a whole other quarter, or an extra month anyways, we'll just add that row back in. And this is, unfortunately, the problem with this method, but it is significantly faster than trying to do everything legitimately. Even myself, who really enjoyed this game, eventually got tired of the RNG, trying to wait for the Finches, so I did resort to this method eventually, although it didn't work. Hey, lipstick. I don't think I've gotten that one yet. Okay. So this is it. This is what you do. If you are waiting for a final group, well, I mean, if you're waiting for the Finches or Bananas, this is what you do. If you are waiting for any other group, you actually just want to start the game over, get the first 12 items. If one of the items from your grouping you need is in the first 12 items, then continue on. If you start the game and you don't have any of the groupings items in your first 12 items, just restart and keep doing that over and over again. I might make a separate video about that just for the heck of it. But because as far as I'm aware, every other grouping can spawn in your initial items, so you don't need to go through this entire process if your final grouping is, something that spawns right away. But this method is necessary for people who need the Finches or Bananas last. Because the Finches or Bananas don't show up until the second year, your entire goal is to get to the second year as quickly as you can. And then you can, hopefully get a Finch or a Banana. I will recommend, I will be showing you, how to re-roll, but if you want a good lesson on how the re-rolling works and how well it works, go back to part 5 of the expert mode playthrough that I did, because I had an excellent proof of concept 15 minutes or so in that video that proved the re-rolling deliveries works. We got our Finches in like 10 to 15 minutes and only like 15 re-rolls for all 3 of them. So that was actually pretty insane. I don't expect it to work that well very often, but it was nice for it to do that on camera. Other than that, as I said, this is more so for if you only have Finches or Bananas. You don't want to be doing this for the regular items, and I'll get a link to another video I'm gonna do to show you the best way to get your final grouping if it happens to not be the Finches or Bananas. Although the RNG for everything else has been relatively nice. I think the wheels were the toughest achievement for me to get. And then that was only the first couple of profiles I used. Now that I've been doing like these videos to show off the game, it seems like every playthrough I've gotten the wheels. So I think that was just a fluke thing. I think just about everything else is relatively easy to come by. But of course it is RNG, so you might just be extremely unlucky for whatever reason. Sorry, I'm just trying to fill the time because I hate having the silence while nothing is going on. At least when I did my other playthroughs, I was, working and organizing things and there was something going on, but I feel like this needs to have me talking or else it's just a block sitting there looking perturbed. Yeah, look, he's so upset. Like, okay, we get these 6 in. Oh, grab another 5 then. Real quick. Well, we're gonna grab another 4. And then put a 5th in. Okay, and now we're all backed up. And for the sake of getting this over with in as few hour or minute and 7-second phases as possible, we're going to assume, and I might pause the game here just to get through everything. Just give me a second here, figure out how I best want to explain this. So, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to assume that whatever item comes in on the next grouping is the item we are looking for. So if it's, if it's a magnet, we're going to assume that it was a banana, okay? Whatever comes in on this next delivery is going to be the item the banana or finch that we've been waiting for. There we go. We got the needle, the threaded needle. That's perfect. That actually works for a grouping, so let's just assume that you've been sitting here waiting and the haberdashery grouping is the last one you need. So we have our haberdashery, our needle and thread, and now it'll show up on the next delivery, right? Well, it can't. There's no place for the delivery to go. You can try to move these blocks out of the way in the few seconds before the delivery gets put down, but you're not going to have time to. So here's what you should be doing then. If you get a delivery of an, like we just did, where it's all backed up and the item we need shows up, what you need to do is start organizing all of this stuff. Pushing it off to the side, whatever you want to do it, however you want to do it. Because even though we missed the delivery that is guaranteed to have the needle and thread, in which, of course, in our case represents a banana or a finch, every delivery afterwards has a chance to have that banana slash finch slash the needle and thread in it. So we need to make room now to continue on in our playthrough until we find a needle and thread in another delivery. And when we do find the needle and thread, then we can do one of two things. You can either attempt to re-roll deliveries to get the remaining items, or you can just keep moving through the game and hope that the items show up. Obviously, if the re-rolling deliveries option ever got patched out, then you would have to just rely on the RNG. But assuming that you got a banana or a finch, we are going to be re-rolling. Once we get that first item in our warehouse, we will start re-rolling the following deliveries. You do want to, in this case, our next delivery is actually going to be a stock take, so you do want to move things out of the way here, because you're going to have at least 2 more deliveries coming in that you'll need to have room for. I will say, and we'll see if this holds true again, almost every time I have tried this, every time that I've had a delivery that had an item, and then I came and sorted and made room for the deliveries afterwards, the very next delivery has always had the item I needed. So we'll see if that holds true. I am not guaranteeing that it is true. I have no way of knowing for sure. I can only tell you that so far, every time I have tested this, including the footage that I lost in part 6 previously, it worked for me then too. Once I made room for this, the next delivery of random items that wasn't a stock take delivery had it. So we will see if the needle and thread show up in the next non-stock take delivery. And at that point, I would be 5 for 5, and that seems like too much of a coincidence to brush off as luck. Okay, stock take came in. Let's just make sure it doesn't have needles and thread. Okay. Does not. So, go up here. And now we wait. The only reason we wait and don't re-roll right away is because I don't entirely know how the priority system for re-rolling works. I know I've gone over this in every video that I've covered re-rolling, and this won't be any different, but the game does not pick from all 500 items equally at every delivery. I don't know how it prioritizes items. I know it definitely prioritizes items based on items you already have in the warehouse. So if you have a Finch, you are more likely to get another Finch. But when you re-roll items, you will notice many items repeating that don't necessarily have a grouping together. So I'm not entirely sure how the game weights the deliveries, but I do know it is not a completely random chance. So we got our brand new 4 items. We're going to go down and check this delivery out. And there are needles and thread. So, I don't know, maybe that is always guaranteed. So, now that we have the needles and thread, our next delivery we are going to attempt to re-roll. Now, for those of you that have watched the other videos, we have to wait until the end of the service phase, so I'm going to go ahead, press skip this, and now we have to sit 1 minute and 7 seconds. Re-rolling the deliveries, I'm sorry about that, bumped my mic. Re-rolling the deliveries is literally just pausing. As you'll see in the bottom right corner, it says game saved. You're going to pause to save the game right before the manifest pops up. Once the manifest pops up, if it has one of the items you want, in our case, if it has a second banana, second banana or Finch, then we would take the delivery and move on with the game. If there is no banana or Finch in that delivery, then we use the guide button, quit out of the game, and reload our save. We will be back right before the manifest pops up and can once again get 4 new items. If you watched part 5, you've noticed it took an average of like 5 rerolls to get the other 3 Finches. So, you may not get that lucky. I have had times where I did 20 and didn't get the item. So, don't take the average of 5 as what you should be aiming for. But it can happen very quickly, which is kind of more proof that the game is prioritizing items you already have. So, I was talking too much, which means I did not save at the right time. So, I apologize for that. I'm going to jump back in and change what I was too busy explaining things, and now we have to wait another minute. I am so sorry for wasting your time. But the idea is, even if it takes you 20 to 30 rerolls to get your banana, your second banana, third banana, fourth banana, it is still significantly faster than the other option. I have never had it I have never had it fail me where I attempted multiple times and still never got it. Like, there was never a point where, if I devoted an entire, quarter to trying to get an item, the item never showed up. So, I don't want to say it's foolproof, but it has worked for me every time I have used it for my personal play, and every time I have made videos testing it. So, and I did it again. My gosh, I'm an idiot. Okay, one more time. I'm going to shut up this time and focus on nothing but the timer. Because apparently, I cannot talk and chew gum at the same time. Or whatever. I'm going to take a drink of water because my throat hurts. I think this is like the 5th or 6th hour of audio I've recorded today, so... I apologize if you heard that. I am hoping to get a better microphone. I mean, my headset is a very nice headset, but it does have problems with... I don't know how the tech works, but it almost feels like it tries to reduce background noise, and then when I start talking, it's like, oh, no, we need to increase this sound. So, okay, I'm ready. After the phase ends and the shutter closes, wait for the camera to go back to Wilmot and press start. You will pause the game, and you have like a second or two before the manifest pops up, and we will check for a banana or a finch. In this case, it would be a haberdashery related item because we chose the needle and thread as our banana, but we didn't get either of them. So what we're going to do is, as I've been showing you, go to the guide, hit start, or whatever the right middle button is, because I'm old school. You're gonna hit start on Wilmot's menu, Wilmot's warehouse to open up the menu, and hit quit. To close out of the game, then press A immediately again to launch it. And this will take you about 30 seconds per reroll. On the Xbox Series X, I don't have an Xbox One currently set up to be able to test this, so it may be longer for you. So we're going to go through again. And we did not, once again, get the item we are looking for. I'm just going to do this until we get another haberdashery item. But this is what you would do if you had a banana or a finch, and we're trying to get a second banana or a finch. And as I said, I'm being attacked by a cat. As I said, I don't remember what I said. I was attacked by a cat. You're not helping. It's kind of fun to test the re-rolling theories, though, because we are now at the same point where it took me, I think it was 4 re-rolls to get the first finch, or technically the second finch. So if we don't get a fabric haberdashery item on this roll here, we actually got the finches faster than haberdashery. And we didn't. So, real quickly, you cannot use this method to get all 1,000 GamerScore. You don't get any stars by going through the game this way, so you will not be able to afford the Dungarees upgrade to get that achievement. I will link you to a video I did that is a speed run of Wilmot's Warehouse that allows you to get the Dungarees in about an hour. It'll probably be a little bit longer than that for you, depending on how familiar you are with the game. I've played this over 150 times now, so I have a pretty good idea of what I need to do. You're basically speedrunning the game, getting a certain amount of stars to start, and then there's actually 2 ways to go about it if you want to. I'm just going to do this a couple more times. If we don't get the item, then we don't get the item. We might already have some, and that might be interfering with it. But so you can use the pause glitch if you want to get enough stars to get the Dungarees. And I do that in combination with playing perfectly for the first year or so. I can't remember off the top of my head how far in I went. Okay, we'll do one more just to see if it shows up. It's hilarious that it is taking longer for me to get a basic grouping than it did to get the Finches. Last one. Let's see what we got. Okay. They just don't want to give us any more of the haberdashery items. That is fine. We don't really need them. But that is the process that you are going to use for your expert mode playthrough the entire way through. You, if at this point we were legitimately going for the haberdashery trophy achievement, you would keep re-rolling your deliveries until a second item from that group showed up. Then you would move on to the next month, the next delivery that can have new items, and re-roll again to get the third item. And then do the same thing again for the fourth item. As I said, there's an excellent proof of concept for this in part 5 of the expert mode playlist, so I recommend going to watch that because it worked flawlessly and explains exactly what you need to do. So there's actually nothing more I need to tell you about this playthrough. You will, if you, for 2 reasons. Number one, if no items ever come through this, then there's no reason for you to ever sort anything. So the only thing you do is sit up here at the time clock and keep skipping phases. The other thing I would recommend doing is not going through the entire game. If you don't have the first item that you need by the beginning of the final year, just restart. The amount of luck you need to re-roll, you only have like 5 more deliveries, 5 or 6 more actual deliveries of new items once you start your last year. And the amount of luck you need to get those items exactly as you need them, to get a Finch in the first one, re-roll a Finch in the second one, re-roll a Finch in the third one, and re-roll a Finch in the fourth one, is pretty high. By that point, you're better off just restarting. Excuse me, I don't know exactly what number that would be. I think it'd be like item 176, item 172, around there. If you don't have the first item you need for a grouping by then, you're better off just restarting. So that's basically it. I know this is odd, but it's not really a full playthrough. I don't need to go through and show you every single thing about this because nothing else changes for the rest of this playthrough. It is literally this just sitting here waiting, and if the item you need shows up, move things until it shows up in your warehouse, and then re-roll deliveries until you get the rest of the groupings. So that's all there is to it. If you have any more questions or comments, feel free to ask me, let me know, and I will be more than happy to answer them for you. If not, I will see you guys next time.